Western University is a relatively distinct institution. The only thing we're involved in is graduate health sciences.
Our goal is to produce graduates who are more than capable with critical thinking skills when they graduate. And in order to achieve that, there needs to be a paradigm shift from teacher-centered learning over to learning-centered approaches. And that is what adaptive learning allows us to do.
True adaptive learning is having the ability to measure where the student's knowledge lies when they come in the doors. In other words, knowledge gap analysis. It has the ability to measure the student's accumulation of knowledge as they work through the course. And it gives me constant metrics on their behavior, the amount of time they're spending in each aspect of the course, how they're performing, and what their overall results are.
From the student perspective, they don't have to kind of do a binge purge, is what we call it, where you kind of shove in all this material right before the test, come to the test, and then spew it all out, and then forget everything that they learned. With adaptive learning, they can always see where they're going, where they currently are, and where they came from.
You're really accountable for what you bring to the actual classroom. You're growing and you're learning, and it's not just memorizing, and so that's the best part.
Every course that we have here at Western U has some form of adaptive learning that can be implemented.
I realized that we needed two components to this to achieve this. The front end is building the curriculum and the content. To put that together and deliver that is one thing, but to have a platform that can distribute those courses in the way we wanted to was what I call the back end. And that was what I found when I ran into Realizeit.
Realizeit platform really helps us tailor our curriculum to be adaptive.
For a local anesthesia course that we had a mechanism finally to be able to assure that 100% of the students came to the clinical component of the course with mastery of the didactic material that they needed in order to take the next steps.
The biggest challenge with adaptive learning might be making sure that I'm on top of my studies before I go into the classroom setting.
The very first year we ran it, we saw a 10 to 12% increase across the board in test scores, which is very significant. The other thing is that we're seeing the students are very engaged in the learning, and they're having fun doing it. They're working together in small groups, they're excited, they're talking. It sounds chaotic at times, but yet they're really engaged with that informational process.
Well, so one of the cool things is the Bucksinator actually keeps your food in your oral cavities.
We currently had our head and neck course being a lecture style. We had students who were sitting in 4-hour lectures, and they weren't really performing well on the exams. And then we switched over to the adaptive learning platform, and the difference between those are like night and day.
It's more dynamic in the sense that students interact more with each other. So by being more interactive, I believe you actually learn at a faster rate.
In a flipped classroom, what you're doing is completely reversing the responsibility of the educational process and putting it on the students' shoulders. Now they are responsible for their own education.
The biggest challenge is just change, right? We're just so set up for a person to lecture us, and adaptive learning, you're teaching yourself. But once you get over that hump, it's phenomenal.
They have specific assignments, they have learning activities, they have to work with each other collaboratively and in partners to solve problems, to do application of things.
So if you want to manipulate it, now you're using your hands and using your mind and really stepping outside of that comfort zone. So I think it's a great way for us students to develop our skills and become better health professionals in the future.
The faculty or the teacher is reversing their role also. They are now more engaged in actually teaching and managing, monitoring and mentoring the students' educational path through their learning.
There's a fallacy that with adaptive learning that you lose control over what you're teaching, you lose control over the learner, but that is not the case because you gain more control over what is happening with that individual learner.
The most satisfying result that I've experienced here at Western University is the acceptance of it and the enthusiasm, both from the student standpoint and also the faculty standpoint that are involved with me.
We're looking at dramatic changes in the educational process. We're really trying to connect with 21st century learners and prepare them for 21st century healthcare. And I think that the use of adaptive learning and other modalities is really one of the key components of being able to do that.